Every single person who ever changed their life didn't start by changing their situation. They started by changing their standards, because your life doesn't rise to your goals. It falls to the level of what you're willing to accept. You can talk about wanting success. You can dream about wealth. You can pray for growth. But until you change what you tolerate, you will always return to what's comfortable. If you look around your life right now, everything you see is a reflection of the standards you've set. The quality of your relationships, the level of your discipline, the amount of money in your bank account, it all mirrors what you've decided is enough. When you raise that standard, life starts to bend in your direction, because the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you demand of yourself. The truth is, mediocrity is not a condition, it's a choice. It's a quiet agreement we make with comfort. Every time you say it's okay, when you know it's not okay, you lower your standard. Every time you let fear talk you out of taking action, you reinforce average. And then you wonder why nothing changes. You can't conquer what you continue to tolerate. The moment you decide, I'm done living beneath my potential, that's when your transformation begins. Change doesn't start with motivation, it starts with a declaration. The day you say, I refuse to settle, is the day your destiny starts to shift. Because when you decide what you will no longer accept, everything around you starts to rearrange itself. The old habits lose their power, the wrong people start to fade away, the new opportunities begin to show up, not because life suddenly got easier, but because you got stronger. Your environment always matches your standards. Look at your circle. Do they challenge you or comfort you? Do they stretch your thinking or drain your energy? The people who surround you are mirrors reflecting your expectations. If you're always the smartest or most disciplined person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Growth requires proximity to greatness. Surround yourself with those whose standards force you to rise, because iron sharpens iron, but only if you're close enough to feel the sparks. But don't be deceived. Raising your standards doesn't mean life gets easier. In fact, it means it gets harder before it gets better. Discipline is what protects your standard. It's the difference between wishing for something and walking in it. You can be inspired today and quit tomorrow if discipline doesn't step in to protect the vision. Emotion makes you start, discipline makes you finish. You don't always have to feel it to fulfill it. Some days you'll feel powerful, other days you'll feel tired, but your standard says, I show up regardless. Every higher level of life requires a higher level of sacrifice. The version of you that lives at your next level doesn't eat the same, think the same, speak the same, or waste time the same way. There's a cost to elevation, and that cost is comfort. You can't hold on to your excuses and expect expansion. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with what you're willing to give up, your laziness, your fear, your bad habits, your distractions. If you want new results, you have to live by new rules. Stop waiting for permission to live as your higher self. Start walking like it, talking like it, and thinking like it now. Don't say, once I get there, I'll start. No, start before you get there. Because when your behavior rises to meet a higher standard, your results will catch up. You have to live as if you've already become it. Speak as if you already have it. Move as if it's already yours. That mindset magnetizes the reality you're believing for. You see, standards are not about perfection. They're about direction. It's not about never failing. It's about refusing to stay down. When you fall, your standard says, get up. When you're tired, your standard says, keep going. When it gets hard, your standard says, this is what I was built for. You don't raise your standards to impress anyone. You raise them because you've discovered who you really are. You've realized that you're too valuable to keep living small. So if you want to change your life, stop trying to change the external first. Don't focus on changing your income, your job, or your relationships before you change your identity. Change what you demand from yourself. Change what you expect from your day. Change what you allow from your surroundings. Because once your standards rise, everything else will follow. There will come a time when your old habits come knocking again, whispering just one more time. But you'll remember, you raised your standard. You'll remember that your future is too expensive to be paid with your past decisions. And in that moment, you'll stand taller, speak bolder, and move stronger. Because when you change your standards, you don't just change what you do, you change who you are. Your new life is waiting on the other side of your new standard. Raise it, protect it, live by it, and watch everything around you start to rise to meet it. Because the moment you decide, this is no longer who I am, is the exact moment life begins to respond. then let's see who you can become. Your standards set your ceiling. That means you will never consistently perform above what you believe you deserve. You might reach higher for a short time, you might push with emotion for a season, but eventually you'll fall back to the level of what you're willing to accept from yourself. Your life is not built by your dreams, it's built by your defaults. You can't have millionaire goals with minimum wage standards. You can't pray for greatness and still think like average. The ceiling of your life is not determined by what you hope for, it's determined by what you demand from yourself daily. Think about it when you raise your goals but keep the same habits. Nothing changes because goals motivate but standards sustain. The problem is not that people aim too high and miss, it's that they aim too low and hit. If your standard is comfort, you'll find comfort. If your standard is excellence, you'll find growth. Life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you'll tolerate. You can't expect first class results with coach class effort. Every time you lower your standard to make yourself comfortable, you build a ceiling that traps your potential. When you say, that's good enough, you stop your growth. But when you say, I'm not stopping until it's right, you force yourself to stretch. Your standard is the thermostat of your destiny. It doesn't just reflect your environment, it controls it. If your standard is high enough, even when life tries to cool you down, you'll rise back up to your set temperature. The people who change their world don't have superhuman gifts. They simply refuse to lower their standards. They refuse to accept average effort, lazy thinking, and emotional excuses. Their mindset says, if I do it, I'll do it with excellence. That's why they attract excellence. You see, mediocrity will always look for your agreement, but destiny demands your discipline. When you set a new standard, you don't just change your actions, you change your identity. You stop saying, I want to be successful, and start saying, I am the kind of person who succeeds. You stop saying, I hope I can be disciplined, and start saying, I am disciplined. Because your standard becomes your identity, and your identity sets your outcome. The ceiling of your life is not out there somewhere, it's inside you. And the moment you raise your standard, the ceiling lifts. The moment you say, I'm done accepting average, doors start opening, energy starts rising, and results start multiplying. Your standard determines how high you go, how far you grow, and how much you show up for the greatness that's already inside you. Decide what you will no longer accept. Every breakthrough begins with that one decision. The decision to stop tolerating what drains you, limits you, or dishonors the potential God placed inside you. Change doesn't start when you find the perfect plan. It starts when you finally say, enough. Because as long as you keep accepting less than you're capable of, you'll keep living beneath your purpose. Nothing in your life changes until you decide what's no longer allowed to stay the same. You have to draw a line in the sand and declare, I'm done settling. Done settling for excuses, done settling for procrastination, done settling for average effort, weak thinking, and self-doubt disguised as humility. You have to look your own comfort zone in the face and say, you don't control me anymore. Because comfort will always try to negotiate your greatness. It will whisper, you've done enough. It will convince you that your old patterns are safe. But safety and success don't live in the same neighborhood. Every person who transformed their life first had to reject something. An old identity, a toxic habit, a limiting belief, or a relationship that no longer aligned with where they were going. Sometimes the hardest part of growth isn't what you start doing, it's what you stop allowing. You can't keep making peace with the things that keep you powerless. You can't say, I want more, while protecting the behaviors that produce less. When you decide what you will no longer accept, your energy shifts. You stop playing the victim and start playing the creator. You stop saying, this is just how life is, and start saying, this is what I'll make it become. That's the moment heaven pays attention. Because God doesn't respond to wishes. He responds to decisions backed by conviction. You can pray for change all you want, but if your standards stay low, your prayers will return empty. There's a power that gets released the moment you take a stand for yourself. When you say, I will no longer live below my purpose, life begins to align. Opportunities appear, strength rises, the right people start to show up. It's not magic, it's momentum. Because once you refuse to go backward, everything that belongs to your next level starts moving towards you. So today, decide what you will no longer accept. Decide that laziness has no place in your future. Decide that fear won't silence your voice. Decide that you'll stop waiting for permission to live fully. The moment you make that decision, you activate a new version of yourself. The version that doesn't settle, doesn't shrink, and doesn't stop. Because change doesn't start when it's easy. It starts when you decide you deserve better than what you've been accepting. Your environment mirrors your standards, everything around you, from the people you spend time with, to the conversations you engage in, to the places you go, reflects the level of excellence you are willing to accept. If your standards are low, you will find yourself surrounded by mediocrity. If your standards are high, your surroundings will rise to meet you. Life is a mirror, and it doesn't lie. The world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you tolerate. Look at the people closest to you. Are they inspiring you to grow, challenging you to think bigger, pushing you to act bolder? Or are they comfortable, complacent, and content with average? Your inner circle is a reflection of your inner standards. You can't raise your life if your environment refuses to rise with you. If you want to grow, you have to surround yourself with those whose energy stretches you, whose thinking forces you to level up, and whose habits remind you that excellence is possible. It's not just the people. It's the conversations you have, the media you consume, the way you spend your time. If your standard for mental input is low, you'll be filled with noise instead of knowledge. If your standard for energy is low, you'll be around distractions instead of opportunities. The world will always reflect the standard you've set. What you tolerate becomes your environment, and your environment becomes your destiny. Sometimes raising your standard means leaving things behind. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. You can't keep the same friends, the same excuses, or the same routines and expect different results. Life doesn't bend for your comfort. It responds to your conviction. When you refuse to accept mediocrity, when you raise your expectation for yourself, your environment will begin to adjust. Doors will open, new people will appear, and your surroundings will begin to reflect the higher standard you now live by. Remember, excellence is contagious. Standards are contagious. When you refuse to lower your standard, you naturally attract those who match your level. Your environment isn't just a backdrop. It's a reflection of who you've chosen to be. So if you want a new life, start by raising your standard, because everything around you will follow. Change your standard, change your circle, and watch your world change in response. Your environment will either limit you or elevate you depending on the standards you've set. Decide today that your surroundings will mirror the greatness you are becoming. Decide that you will no longer settle for less than what aligns with your purpose. When your standard rises, your environment rises, and your life rises with it. Discipline protects your standards. You can have the clearest vision, the highest goals, and the strongest desire, but without discipline, it's all just wishful thinking. Discipline is what ensures that your standards don't get compromised when life gets hard, when temptation shows up, or when motivation fades. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline is consistent. It's the anchor that keeps your life aligned with the standards you've set, even on the days you don't feel like showing up. Standards without discipline are like a car without brakes. You might start moving, but you have no control over where you end up. You can declare, I will live at a higher level, but without discipline, you'll quickly slip back into old habits. Every day presents a test of your commitment. And every time you choose discipline over convenience, you reinforce the standard you're creating for yourself. Discipline is what turns a decision into a lifestyle. It transforms good intentions into real results. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect feeling. It acts even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when no one is watching. It's what separates the person who dreams from the person who achieves. Every great life, every great accomplishment was built not on fleeting inspiration, but on consistent action aligned with high standards. If you want your standards to produce extraordinary results, you must be willing to do what is required, even when you don't feel like it. Think about it. The moment you compromise your standard, even once you weaken it, that one concession becomes easier to repeat, and before long, your standard is no longer a standard. It's just a suggestion. Discipline protects you from that trap. It's the guardian of your vision. It's the thing that reminds. I don't do it because I feel like it. I do it because I've set a higher standard and I will not settle. Discipline also builds momentum. The more you consistently align your actions with your standards, the easier it becomes to stay at that level. Habits are formed, confidence grows, and your life begins to reflect the excellence you're committed to. Discipline doesn't just protect your standards, it strengthens them, reinforces them, and makes them non-negotiable. If you want lasting change, you cannot rely on feelings, luck, or fleeting bursts of effort. You must cultivate discipline that outlasts your emotions and outperforms your excuses. When you do, your standards become unshakable, your life begins to change, and success is no longer a hope. It becomes an inevitable result of the way you live. Standards require sacrifice. You cannot rise to a higher level without giving up something in return. Every time you set a new standard for yourself, you create a gap between where you are and where you want to be, and that gap must be bridged by what you are willing to give up. Growth demands that you let go of comfort. Let go of excuses. Let go of habits and relationships that no longer serve your future. Anything worth achieving always comes at a cost, and your standards are the measure of what you are willing to pay. Sacrifice doesn't mean losing. It means choosing what matters more. It's the decision to delay pleasure today for greater reward tomorrow. It's saying no to short-term gratification. So you can say yes to long-term success. You might have to give up late nights, idle scrolling, or harmful patterns. You might have to endure discomfort, criticism, or the loneliness that comes with stepping out of the crowd. But every sacrifice you make is an investment in the life you're building. The problem most people face is that they want the results without paying the price. They want growth without discipline, success without effort, and respect without boundaries. But life doesn't work that way. Your standards will always demand a level of sacrifice because excellence is not free. The higher the standard, the greater the sacrifice, but also the greater the reward. Sacrifice also means protecting your time, your energy, and your focus. It means saying no to distractions that pull you away from your purpose. It means standing firm when others try to convince you to settle, conform, or take the easy path. Every no you say today is a yes to your future. Every boundary you set protects the standard you're trying to live by. The truth is, the life you desire is already waiting for you, but it cannot coexist with the habits and compromises of yesterday. If you want to change your life, you must be willing to give up what no longer serves you. You must be willing to do things that feel uncomfortable, inconvenient, or even unpopular. Standards are not just a measurement of excellence. They're a call to action, a call to sacrifice, and a call to rise above the ordinary. When you embrace sacrifice as part of your journey, you discover that the things you gave up are nothing compared to the life you gain. Every small denial, every disciplined choice, every moment you refuse to settle builds the future version of you. Sacrifice is the bridge between where you are and the person you are becoming. Without it, your standards remain empty words. With it, your standards become your reality. Live as if you've already become it. The life you desire is not waiting for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to act like you already belong there. Too many people wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or the ideal circumstance to start living at a higher level. But the truth is, the universe responds to what you do today, not what you hope for tomorrow. You must begin to move, think, and speak according to the standard of the future you are creating. When you act as if you've already become it, your mind, your habits, and your environment start aligning with that reality. Living as if you've already become it is not arrogance, it's confidence. It's the conviction that your next level is not just possible, it's inevitable if you act in alignment with it. You begin to carry yourself differently. You begin to speak differently. You begin to make decisions from a place of power rather than fear. Your actions start attracting the opportunities, people, and resources that match the life you're claiming. The universe doesn't know the difference between a dream and a declaration. It responds to belief expressed through action. When you live as if you've already achieved it, you begin to think like the person you want to become. You make choices from the perspective of someone who doesn't settle for less. You manage your time, energy, and relationships in alignment with your future. You refuse to participate in anything that contradicts the standard you're living by. Acting as if you've already become it rewires your brain, trains your habits, and strengthens your discipline because your behavior begins to reinforce your identity. Most people fail because they wait for permission. They wait to feel confident, wealthy, or ready before they start acting in alignment with their goals. But the truth is, readiness comes through action. Confidence is built by stepping into the role you're meant to play. Wealth is created by managing resources as if you already have them. Success is claimed by living with the mindset of someone who has already achieved it. You don't wait to become, you become by living like it today. When you act as if you've already become it, doors start opening, conversations change, and the right opportunities begin to appear, people start to take you seriously because your standard of living commands respect. Your energy changes, and the world responds to the frequency you're transmitting. You are no longer living in reaction. You are living in creation. Living as if you've already become, it also protects your standard. You no longer tolerate behaviors, relationships, or environments that pull you back. You no longer negotiate with mediocrity. Every decision, every action, every word aligns with the version of yourself that you are committed to becoming. And when you consistently live this way, your life transforms from a reflection of circumstance into a reflection of identity. The moment you decide to live as if you've already become it, you step out of waiting and step into creation. You stop hoping for change and start commanding it. You stop following the path and start forging it. You live with purpose, power, and persistence. And in that alignment, your future no longer feels distant. It begins to unfold before your eyes. Everything we've talked about today comes down to one powerful truth. Your life will never rise above the standards you set for yourself. Your standards determine your ceiling. Your decisions define your boundaries. Your environment reflects your expectations. Discipline protects what you value. Sacrifice bridges the gap to your future. And living as if you've already become, it brings your vision into reality. Every choice you make, every action you take, every boundary you set either elevates you or limits you. If you want a different life, you cannot wait for luck, motivation, or someone else to give you permission. Change starts with you. It starts with raising your standards and refusing to accept anything less than the life you were created to live. It starts with protecting your time, your energy, and your focus. With doing the things that others won't, and with acting today like the person you are destined to become. Your standards are not just rules, they are declarations of who you are and who you will be. When you commit to living by higher standards, life will begin to rearrange itself in your favor. Opportunities will appear, doors will open, and your potential will start to become your reality. So today, decide that you will no longer settle. Decide that you will refuse mediocrity, refuse excuses, and refuse to live beneath your potential. Raise your standard. Protect it with discipline, embrace the necessary sacrifices, and act as if you've already achieved the greatness you are capable of. When you do, your life will change. Not someday, not maybe, but starting now. Because change is not found in luck, circumstances, or hope. It is found in the unwavering standard you set for yourself. The question is simple. Will you settle for less, or will you raise your standard and transform your life forever? The choice is yours. And the time to act is now.